Yeah. Nathan here? It's Simone. Simone? Has he gone to the toilet? Okay. Is Simone here? Oh, okay, maybe she's going to the bathroom. I think we all need a breath after that screening, right? Yeah, it's pretty strong, very powerful. Before we start, can Simone is going to make his way back in. Can I just reintroduce you? This is I have a round of applause for all the filmmakers and the films. Simone. So on your right is Baz Sells, and Ben Jackson is also in the audience who produced. Baz directed the film. We have also the poet is also in the audience as well. Thank you. Can you stand up a second? Dean Atta. Is that how you pronounce your surname? Dean Atta? Okay. So we have Neeraja Raj, who was the director of the last film. Meaning of Life. We have Nathan, who's the director of Mental Roots, director and animator producer. Simone, who is the director of I'm Only a Child. We have Jonathan, who's the director of Fiante. And we have Danielle, who is the director of Apple Gatherers.
Can I quickly? This Tyler, our writer, Katie, our composer, and
Could you
Alea,
stand up,
our
please?
production manager, as well. Stand up, girls.
Thanks for coming. So this is always really difficult because NAG kindly asks me to co-curate this program, Disrupting the Narrative. And we go through a lot of different films, and we're really interested in people that have a very strong opinion and a reaction to what's happening in the world, the things that mean something to them. We're looking at black, ethnically diverse, not just filmmakers, subjects as well. So you can be white. It's about bringing these important subject matters to the forefront. So we think about them as artists, and we can try and get the audience to think about them and to hopefully have an impact on culture, wider culture, beyond just the animation framework. And I'm always really touched that the filmmakers turn up to be part of a Q&A. So I'm really grateful to see your films and to meet you all in person. I've known some of them for a while, and I've only met some of them tonight briefly. But the most important ingredient tonight is really about the audience. So thank you for coming, and please, please engage and ask them whatever you want. It's really important that they're in the room and you can get as much information from them as possible. Unfortunately, because we don't have much time, and Nag and I were so greedy, we wanted them all on stage. I'm going to ask them all just one question. I always ask a million questions, but I can only ask you one because of the time frame. And it's a two-part question, which I'd like you to kind of answer. I'm impressed with the ideas, the technical skill, and how fresh the films feel, whether they were made several years ago or whether they were just completed last year. It's very difficult, and I'm sure there are artists, animators, filmmakers in the room that understand when you have an idea, you think, at some point you think, great, this is going to be really amazing, but then you have to translate it from an idea into reality. On that journey, there are loads of issues. We all know that. So tonight, I'm really interested in knowing what is the singular most difficult challenge that you all had in your process from conception, bringing the film to life, finishing the film, which can be difficult, and getting it out there. What is the singular most important challenge, and most importantly, how did you overcome that challenge? Why I'd like to know how you overcome it is because I think it's invaluable advice for would-be filmmakers in the audience. Okay, so let's go ladies first. Neeraja.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess with like Meow or Never, like it was the first time doing something so big. I always have like these massive ideas. I don't really know how I'm going to pull it off, but I just have like that self-belief of like, I'm going to be able to do it. And it was my first time. I made it at the NFTS, which is the National Film and Television School. And that's like a 2-year master's program in which in your second year you complete like your graduation film. So this is my graduation film from uni. And it was my first time also working with so many other creatives, like skilled in their own departments, like in editing and sound design and composing. And I think bringing together all of these different ideas and consolidating it into one cohesive piece was probably the hardest for me, or it was like my learning curve of like what filmmaking is all about. I think in the past I would make films and it would just be me by myself, like drawing and now working with like such a huge team, I was like trying to meld minds together, but also make everyone see that we're going towards a singular goal as opposed to like, so I think it was learning how to be a good director, and I think I learned how to do that at the NFTS, and yeah, I'm so grateful for it because this film opened many doors for me.
So was there one moment that clicked and made you realize this is how I'm going to overcome that challenge of the way you used to work and the way you needed to work to bring this film to life?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think there was one singular moment, but I think it was like when I would get the team together and we'd have conversations, and maybe there might be two opposing mindsets, and trying to make them see that, you know, the story is the key. I don't care about any singular opinion as long as it serves the story. That's what's most important to me. I think that was like something that I enjoyed learning about and like overcoming. Because sometimes I will have opinions that may not serve the story, and then my teammates will be like, hey, let's get back on track. That's not really important. So I think that was very, very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you. Baz, the most challenging moment, and how did you overcome it?
I'd say technically speaking, the underwater scene for us was the most challenging moment. We were getting 12 frames a day. We couldn't afford to heat our studio overnight, so the puppets were getting, they're made of silicone, they were getting quite brittle, and they were splitting between essentially every few frames. So our animator had to patch those up. That must have taken over a month. But I think, speaking of longevity, I think staying the course, because from concept to completion was 5 years, and maintaining vision over that time when you're extremely fatigued, and yeah, that was challenging, but the answer to that is crew, you know, everyone chipping in. I think for us, what we tried to do was to make our production truly inclusive of opinions. Like, I would say it often, best idea wins. There is no ego, and whoever, you know, if the idea fits within the framework, you know, we'll go with that idea. So I think for me, collaboration, you know, whether it's with Dean or Ben on the co-writing or relying on our crew, that was, I think, the single most important thing. And I know it's absolutely cliche to say, but you can't do a production over 5 years without, you know, incredible collaborators. And also staggering those collaborators in terms of their involvement. There might be someone that's on the film for a few days, but they're going to come in they're going to have a certain energy with them. You know, they'll come and see the puppets, see the sets, and they're like, oh wow, you know, this looks great, and that energy feeds into the crew as well. So it's not just technical; it's also about just energy levels and. I mean, and not to say that's by design, because as an indie film, really the fact is you're just relying on who you can get when you can get them. So it's not necessarily by design, but it's realizing that, okay, we can make the most of that pattern. It might not be great for Ben's schedule and that sort of thing, but it does have its benefits. So, I think, like I say, longevity for us was, I think, the biggest challenge.
And how do you sustain that 5 years? Why do you, it's taken too long, I'm going to move on to another project. How do you overcome this challenge of time?
I think, like, we had a great blueprint. We spent, between myself, Ben, Dean, we spent maybe a year in development, so we really knew what we wanted to say, and I think that vision and the plan we put in place served us, so that when it came to being fatigued, I feel like when we ran the risk of making decisions that might have been influenced by tiredness, I feel like between us all, we have a reference point. We had such thorough development and conversation. Like, there was so much in-depth conversation about our subject matters, the experiences that informed the narrative of our film. So I feel like we kind of wrangle each other. You know, if we're going slightly off course, or if something doesn't feel true to the story, I feel like we kind of bring each other in. But you know, that's the truth. I actually don't know how we got through it. A lot of it. It's just the subject matter was so important to us, and you know, that was the fire of you know, that so many people had on the project to really, go the distance.
It's a beautiful and really powerful and an incredibly important film, you know, which comes from the poem and the desire of the team. It's really strong. Well done. Nathan.
Yeah, so Mental Roots. So just to give a bit of context, it was commissioned by New Creatives, which was a scheme put together by BBC Arts and the production company Rural Media. So February 2020 was when I was selected, and then lo and behold, the pandemic. I mean, the good thing about animation, and I'm sure a lot of the animators can attest to this, is that a lot of the work at least can be done remotely. So we were still able to work on it. But I think one key challenge was the fact that it was remote, that we were making it. And, you know, it was a pretty small commission, so we didn't have a big team at all. It was 3 animators, including myself, who worked on that. I also had the poem that I did before. I did the voiceover. So it was very much, although I had a small team helping me create it, it was still very personal to me, and I had my hands on a lot of different aspects of the film. But yeah, I'd say working remotely and trusting that this debut of mine as a director would lead to something sustainable, when at the time it felt quite small and intimate, because I was just in my bedroom working on this film. And then lo and behold, now it's been on big screens and won awards. So yeah, I think it was believing that, okay, I don't know how, but there's gonna be some sort of legacy impact from this film. But I remember particularly, it might have been, I think, February of 2021, where we were nearing kind of our self-given deadline to finish this and give it to this BBC. And yeah, it's funny, like, the whole theme was around mental well-being, because I've been on this journey of learning to be more kind to myself as a black man. And yeah, just giving not working so hard to prove my greatness in a world where, you know, for various reasons, it feels like you have to do that to be validated as a black male. But yeah, I just remember just feeling really stressed, because it was like the film was taking longer than I expected, and I had so many frames of coloring to do, and it was like, I want this film to come out the way I wanted it, because I knew how important the message was. But yeah, I pressed through. What motivated me was, if I'm honest, what mainly motivated me was my faith. So I'm a Christian, and I feel like God has given me the gift that he's given for a reason. So I knew, like, even, it doesn't matter how big this film gets, I know there's someone out there who's gonna feel inspired to just hope for tomorrow, because, you know, they don't have to give into their negative thoughts. And so I pressed through, we got it done, it premiered on BBC4, and then a few years later, it's led into a multimedia brand through which I do workshops showing that animation, and it's helped a lot of kids open up about their mental well-being. So yeah, you know, that was a long-winded answer, but like, just embrace the process, and big things start small.
Thank you, Nathan. Daniela.
Oh.
Yeah. What is the singular most challenging aspect of this film, and how did you overcome it?
There were many, as many as however many techniques I decided to choose and give a go. But actually, I think it started out as a small idea that me and Tyler came up with whilst we were at the Tate Britain, seeing a painting, and out of that grew a sort of a shorter version of what you saw, which was a 3-minute sort of piece. And really, I think the difficulty was making sure that we developed this whilst keeping the core of the film the same. And there were so many different versions. I think this is potentially version 50 or something like that. And we've gone on this whole journey of like, I really wanted there to be an ad and this whole different sphere of like satire and all this stuff. And in the end, it just turned out that maybe the tone was getting confused, or yeah, like the simplicity that worked within the 3-minute version just wasn't working in this sort of world. It was getting too big for what we wanted to make. So towards the very end of the process, we decided to cut a lot of things, and this is what came out. So I think maybe the takeaway from that for me is to keep things simple.
Thank you, Danielle. Jonathan.
I need to start by saying that I feel weird being here because I did that film. For me, it's an exercise. I didn't expect it to be in a festival or anything. It was really a joke, a personal joke. And so I would say the challenge is not a specific moment, but it's like with all my films or animation, it's the financial aspect of it, because I'm doing freelance at the same time. So finding the energy and the motivation to do animation on the side and work and during the day. So that's the challenge, I'd say.
Okay, just to put everything in context, I see the LIAF like an art gallery for animation. So it doesn't matter when you made the film, it doesn't matter how you made the film, it doesn't matter if it's like done yesterday or 10 years ago. It's about really great examples of animation within the context of disrupting the narrative. Whether it's play, whether it's a meaningful film, whether it's a film that has to politically kind of motivate people to take action, or it could just be an experiment. And so for me, it fits in really well in amongst, there are some laughs, there's some serious messages in here. And so that's why I kind of go by how it feels together as a program.
Glad to be here. I understand now why I'm here. Thank you.
It's great to have you here, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Simone, Only a Child. What was I know there's
the most difficult part.
I know there's loads of challenges for films, but what would you say is the most singular, most challenging, and how did you overcome it?
As you've noticed, Only a Child contains lots of segments. Each one are directed by a different person. So there are lots of styles, an array of different techniques, and so on. Which meant I had the most difficult part for me, which I was like the supervisor, director of all these super talented directors which were working alongside me. The most important and most difficult part for me was to select those people and assign them and their technique to the right segment of Severn's speech. So you can find the original speech on YouTube, by the way. I had to sort of rewrite it. I had to readjust the position of certain phrases and lines. And then the most difficult part was really envisioning those lines as, in taking form and shape, and deciding, oh, that would work perfectly with sand animation. That feels like stop motion. That other one feels like a CGI explosion. So the most difficult part was translating those words into visual metaphors according to the right technique, and then selecting the right person for that bit. That took a long time, and fortunately I found some amazing collaborators that really brought that, elevated the words of Severn, and that's the second part of the answer, is that what motivated me to carry on. I was working full-time at Jellyfish Pictures while doing Only a Child. I was basically doing it spare time. During the evening and during weekends, I was checking what the others were doing. I was, sometimes you lose hope during production, as we have all experienced. But when I saw clips or tests or some snippets of what the artists were doing, that's what really kept me going. It's like, oh wow, this really works with these techniques. The seeds really look like they can compose a world map and become species and look like a powerful metaphor and so on. So what really kept me going is seeing how well the other directors were doing, and that really gave me the motivation to finish the project, even though it was all spare time, basically.
Fantastic. That's so great to hear that. So I should have said that a lot of the filmmakers here, they don't only make their films, they work on their independent films, they work in a commercial context, and they also teach as well. So what they're learning, they're kind of inspiring the new generation of animators and filmmakers of tomorrow to make films. So thanks for that insight. I'm going to open it up to the floor now, because I always run out of time for the audience to ask questions. Who has a question?
By the way, they're all brilliant. Well done, all of you, for bringing things to us to see. I'm just curious, marshmallows. Why marshmallows?
I was just thinking about the meaning of life for different things, and obviously it's a fantasy world, and I was just thinking about these marshmallows that were obsessed with the fire god, and they felt like their meaning of life was to sacrifice it all to the passion of fire, and I wasn't thinking much beyond it. I was just like, this is what their meaning of life is. Who am I to question it? I'm just a human being. I don't know what goes on in their marshmallow brains. So I think I was kind of, just having fun with it. Yeah.
There are a couple of questions back there. Next row up.
I want to say everyone's was amazing. And my question is that how do you decide what to put more focus on, the character, the story, or the style of the animation? Yeah. Anybody can answer. It's not.
I think one serves the other. It's very difficult to get them in a vacuum, The style of animation serves the character personality, which serves the story. So I see the question, it's an interesting one, but for me there is no main focus one over the other, because they all work in unison, in my opinion. I don't know what the others may think.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's all in unison. I think everyone has their own approach. Some people might gravitate more to one aspect, and then that aspect unlocks other aspects, if that makes sense. For me, I think more bigger picture. So I'm thinking about the message first. why does this film need to exist? Basically, that's why I asked myself. And then what components help serve that message or purpose? So that's how I look at it.
Can I challenge that a little bit? Because I think it's a brilliant question. You could even take that further. So you've got character, you've got plot, you've got the story, trying to get that to work. I would even push it to why animation and what technique of animation. Because when you read the poem, Dana's poem, what did you visualize, Baz or Ben? What do you visualize when you read the poem? Did you read it as that style, or did you have a different style of stop motion?
I think with the film, it was all. I mean, we're stop motion filmmakers, so naturally we are always looking through that lens when we're considering a project. But with Dean's poem, it was it's such a multifaceted poem that moves quite quickly through very strong imagery and emotion, and I think in terms of the form, like one of the most important aspects for us was to create a world. I mean, undoubtedly it's a beautiful world, but it's also a world which celebrates imperfection. So, you know, often our lines are not straight, and our shapes are irregular, and so I think for us, I guess in terms of form, like stop motion for me has an ability to disarm people in a way that is incredibly unique. Like I think about what we do in terms of, say, we've got puppets which are human or supposed to convey human, the human form, and I sometimes think about our body is this incredible thing that's evolved over millions of years, and we are trying to match that. And I think part of stop motion is accepting we're never going to get it perfect, but we can still tell stories in a way that resonates for that reason. You know, our characters, the world they live in is not perfect, but we lean into that through the form. And for me, that's what stop motion is like we're bound by all of the same physics that are, you know, happening in this room, and it's whether it's through rigging or you know, the animator's skill and ability to, say, convey water when realistically they're on 2 rigs in the middle of a really cheap studio in a dank corner of Cheetham Hill, Manchester. You know, it's that part of it that fascinates me, and I think that there's a real humanity in stop motion, which, like, when it comes to Dean's poem, it's such a deeply human poem. It's incredibly honest, it's vulnerable, it's strong, and I feel like one of the things I always say about this film is it does look beautiful, but there is so much just hard graft behind it that you wouldn't associate with the aesthetic of our film, and I think that, you know, it goes hand in hand with Dean's poem as well. So yeah, I think there's an answer there somewhere.
Thank you.
No worries.
There's another. Sorry, I said Dana, but I meant Dean. Sorry, Dean. There's a couple of questions there. We'll come to you further back.
Thank you so much for presenting, and please do continue to create. Is uplifting. My question is, what could you advise to an animator tasked to create by themselves once they found their story? What shortcuts would you advise, and whose supports should they search for?
Just make. I think just get started. Like, we were talking about this earlier, that, you know, there's a lot of us have been working whilst making, or for me, it was a grad, but I was also working alongside. And now I really want to make something else. But it's just about finding the time, and also, yeah, money, which there isn't maybe any right now for it. So for me, like, I'll just, I want to make like a 1-minute piece, pen on paper, and that's it, and get it out somewhere, you know. And I think that a lot of really beautiful films really don't have a lot of funding, and the message is right there, because, you put all your emotion into it. It's a very like what's the word? Airy answer maybe, but I hope it inspires.
Can I ask you what technique you animate in?
Frame by frame, mostly, but I do puppeteering as well.
Okay, so stop motion.
Puppeteering, as in After Effects,
Okay.
puppeteering on.
Okay.
So I actually use Photoshop and After Effects to do mental roots, and I relate very much, as you could see, a lot of frame by frame. I think number one, if you can animate on 2s, then do it. You know,
3s.
4s even.
And actually, there's a beauty to that more quote unquote jittery look anyway. Like a lot of the imperfection, what we might think are imperfections, can actually add a charm to that animation. So if you need to reduce the frame rate, do that. Also simplicity as well. Try and simplify your character designs. There's all these things that you can do to simplify that.
Thank you,
I
Nathan.
could actually make it good.
Thank you, Nathan.
So I was wondering, and this is a question for anyone, but we're talking a lot about like maintaining a message through the start to completion. But I was wondering if there was any like big change that you had to make, compromise or sacrifice throughout learning with other people and like collaborating with other people, and what it meant for the completion of the film.
Jonathan.
I don't know because I'm working mainly by myself.
But you have time and budget restrictions.
Yeah, I guess I would say a restriction, time restriction, put some limit on the design and the story I want to tell most of the time. So, yeah. Other than that, maybe with sound designers, when I work with sound designers, because I don't have that much money. When I ask them to do something, I don't put too much pressure or, requirements. I just let them do what they can do. And I live with that. I just, accept what they're going to bring to the film. And I would like to add something about the other question. Not putting too much pressure on ourselves as animators. If it's the first movie you're making, the first film you're making, just accepting the mistakes, and you're gonna, improve for the next film, and just, like you said, just start, do some mistakes, learn, and have fun. Have fun is a great thing, and something that can help you, giving life to your films.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jonathan. Question at the back there.
Hi. We heard about your processes and challenges, and including budget and financing. So we're just wondering if any of your films received funding from the government, and I've seen some that had some logos on it. How did you navigate the challenge of, meeting completion timelines, especially for films that receive government or public funding?
Great question. Anna, do you mind giving that mic to Ben there? Ben Jackson, who is the producer of Two Black Boys in Paradise.
Hello, everyone. Yeah,
Ben,
we got...
Ben, do you mind just quickly sitting here? Thanks. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Hello. Yeah, we got funding from the BFI. We did spend about a year looking for funding, and we had 2 failed funding attempts elsewhere. And each of those kind of made our pitch and all our materials and the project, the team, kind of stronger. So when it came to applying to the BFI, it was the Short Film Animation Fund. We felt like we'd done absolutely everything we could, really. And luckily we're successful. And the BFI were really great. They gave us kind of a lot of creative freedom. They were there for guidance, definitely made the project a lot better, but actually weren't kind of on our backs about deadlines. We kind of were in constant communication. Every month I gave them kind of a budget report, and I kept updating them with progress, and they could see that we were making progress and they were happy with what we were doing. So they just kind of kept on encouraging us, and it did take a lot longer than expected, but they were just really supportive the whole way, and we're really pleased with the result when we did finish the film. Oh, I just wanted to say as well, we do have like some other people from the crew in the room. We've got our sound and music, or two of our sound and music team.
Can you stand up, please?
And also, so it's Ray and Jasper, and we also have Danielle, who was a model maker, who's still up at the back.
We're running out of time, so thank you for the questions. Why continue making animated films with all the challenges you've just mentioned? Why continue? Just a quick word from all of you, very, very quickly.
Okay. Just one word, or
just a sentence?
Okay, because animation reflects what we go through in life. It teaches you perseverance, adaptability, creativity, and so many aspects of our daily lives that are important to hold on to. And yeah, that would be it for me.
Great.
Animation has the power
One
to
sentence.
It visualizes what isn't visible to the eye. Whatever goes on in here, you can show it on screen.
Simone.
I think we have one life, and we do what we're most passionate about, and if that's animation, then just do it so your soul sings, because I feel the most alive when I am animating.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what's been said in a different way, but I will continue doing animation because that's the only way possible for me to convey emotion or to provoke an emotion in the audience, whether it's crying or laughing. I'm not able to do that with many other means or media, so that's why I will stick with it. A bit longer, at least.
I have no idea. To be honest, because I do comics as well, so I feel like spending more time on comics, maybe next time. But animation, I don't know. It's really tiring. I'm getting old, so I can't give you an answer for that. It's just I don't know.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Our logline was to try and feel human in a world that doesn't allow you to.
Fantastic. Ben, would you like to add any of that to anything?
I think it can make the world a better place, make people feel, bring people together. And yeah, for me as well, although making this film was a massive challenge, it kind of helped me along my journey of self-acceptance. So yeah, I think that's reason enough for me to continue.
I think they're all fantastic reasons. A round of applause for the filmmakers. Thank you. And again, thank you so much for coming out. Round of applause for the audience. See you next year. Enjoy the rest of LIAF. There's loads of really amazing things there. Okay, bye.